Hello, boys and girls. Good afternoon. It was a nice Saturday afternoon here, and everything is good. I'm looking forward to work a bit on the inventory and containers and to proceed with the mission we had the other day. So let me just recap what we are doing and where we are. So let me check. So our mission at the moment is the following. So our mission is to be able to craft something, okay? But the problem is that to be able to craft something, we have some prerequisites, and these prerequisites are to be able to view a container content, because so not just the item itself, but the actual container, to be able to move items from and to containers, and then to be able to equip some items like the tools, because we need to have like this hammer in the tool of the guy, and also what we call the mind slot, which is a place where you put your books or recipe or instructions for crafting. So that is what we are what I'm trying to do now. Yesterday we've been working a bit on this first one, right, and we achieved some results, and I will show you where we are right now. And by the way, welcome to the stream for the people that just joined. We are streaming at the same time on YouTube and on Twitch. So let me show you where we are. So maybe before starting it up, let me just do a quick change, which is the one that I was just about to do. So basically we have a problem because the containers don't have the proper ID, and for some reason this is causing, say, our code not to work properly. So I was just checking in our code where we fill in the container ID, and so I was searching, and what I'm doing now, the set container content, okay? So I'm searching it on the old code and trying to see if we, in the old code, we were actually passing in the container ID, because I think we were, because at the moment, let me see, view container description, outgoing, client num, get name, get info, get image. Yes, we were also adding the container ID. Yes, and it is something that I overlooked, and now is a problem. So we need to pass in also the container ID, and the container ID, I don't know why I didn't do this. Okay, so in the new code we need something like this, but I didn't port it. So before sending out the message, we are inside send container content, right? Let me see the old code. Yes, we are inside send container content. So and here we are crafting the message to send to the client, and in the same way here we are crafting the message. So just for the people that are new, maybe I will tell you that when you see a black background like this in Visual Studio 2015, we are looking at the Unreal Code. When you see a white background like this, we are looking at the old PlaneShift game code that we are porting. Okay, so that's the difference between the two. Okay, so, and I'm always looking at the old code to ensure that the porting was done properly. So I think we need to change this message, this receive item detail container. I think we have to change it, because I think I would like to add on top of this also the container ID. And for the container ID, let me just copy. So it was basically doing, it was basically passing in the EID. Unfortunately, I think we cannot do this anymore because in our new code we don't have a get ID anymore. We have a get UID and a get unique ID. So I think in our case we will try to do get item data, and then we will try to get the UID, and that is the one that we are going to pass in. I think we can just create a new so container ID and container ID. So container ID, do we have a container ID that is passed to this? Okay, we have actually a container ID which is passed to this function. So yeah, I think we don't need this. I think we can just say if the item actor is not null, we just override the container ID with this. If not, we leave what is passed in by the function. Yeah, I just don't know why we are doing this, but it's okay. I think it's okay. And so what I would like to pass in, here the container ID. So unfortunately it means that I have to change also the blueprints, and I have to change the signature of this function. I have to change a few things, but I think it's okay. So if I go in PS item, no, not in PS item, in plane shift controller, the controller base, yes, is actually here. Here we should get the receive item details container, yes, which is this one, and we just need to add a new parameter, which is a const int ampersand container ID. Okay, so we just added this new parameter here, and we need also to change in our blueprints. Maybe we can just compile hot reload and see what happens. Okay, let's do this. Let's compile with hot reload and see what happens. We should get a different function here, so this one should have one parameter more. Actually, the function that we are calling is an implementable event, which is coming here. So this one I think should change. And in the meantime, what we can do, we can just add this new parameter, which anyway we know is needed. We call container ID, and is an integer, right? And we are gonna move this up because I want the order to be the same, just for clarity. Okay, it will be here. So this function, as soon as the compilation is completed, unless there are errors, we should get an updated event with one additional parameter, which we will connect to container ID. And then I will have to do the same on this function here, send container content. Also this one is a new parameter, which is called container ID, and we are gonna move this up the same way. Okay, this one will be the container ID. Okay, so if we arrive here, I think we are fine. Yeah, the compilation is taking a bit of time because we changed an H file, right? And so that's why it's taking a bit of time. How is going for you guys? What plans you have for this Saturday? Is the video okay? Because I see it a bit stretched. And okay, I see it good now. Okay, I see it good in YouTube and Twitch now. Fine. Yeah, multi-streaming, which is pretty cool. Okay, this blip means that our compiler finished, and actually we are gonna get also the auto reload in our. Okay, here it is. You see this container ID is now changed. So this event has this attribute in addition, which we're going to connect to our container ID. And in the same way, we will connect this to this. It doesn't like it because this one is not compiled yet. So I have to compile that one first, and then yes, you see, and now it's working. So here I think it's a bit cramped because I just added the quick printout. So let me just do this maybe. Okay. So this printout we're gonna remove soon, but just to Okay. So now I can show you where we are, right? Now that I did this small change because I wanted this ID to come here and I wanted this ID. Now that I have this ID, I want to set the ID down there. So let me do something like this. Let's take a route node. Then let's go up to here and let's take another route node. And then let's just connect this to this. Okay, so now the container ID is not anymore -1. I have no idea what will be the ID, but we will see it very soon. For the actual objects, I think I have to do the same. When we are filling the container message, let me check the old code and see what we were doing, because I think it's the same. We were not passing in the ID, the container ID. Well, strange though, but I think we were taking it probably from the top, so we can avoid doing it, but it means that this container ID is probably actually not filled in, right? It's -1. You see this? I set it to -1. Why we cannot do just child get parent? You know, get location because only we have a get location in parent. We don't have a way to get the parent item. But we should have a get container ID. Yes, we have a get container ID. Okay, so let's extract the container ID from this as well. I think we should be fine. Okay, now I would like to compile it clean, and then we can test it. Okay, so let me just recompile it without any hot reload or any. Yeah, these two hot reload can go. Okay, I've been deleted already. Perfect. Yeah, whenever you're compiling hot reload, is creating a new DLL with a unique ID, and oops. When you are compiling not hot reload, is then doing okay with a standard DLL. Hello, Soup. Welcome. Thanks for joining. It's always nice to have an audience when I'm streaming. So I solved some of the issue we had yesterday, but I still have, so the window is actually popping up and we get the value in it, but for some reason we are still having some issue with the window visualization, so that oops yeah, we have to recompile clean. We are having some issue with the window visualization, meaning that sometimes it pops up, sometimes it doesn't. I don't know exactly why, so I have to check that as well. But for now, I'm more interested in having, let's say, the proper parameters sent to the container window, so that we see which items are contained, and also will be great if I could be able to move the items from my inventory to the container. So this is what I'm doing. Meanwhile, maybe I will just solve while it's compiling. I think we can take the time of compilation to actually fix some of the hide class member, right? Like all this stuff here. We can put it in a temporary file and like this. And while it's compiling, we just check like waypoint 56, right? Waypoint 56 is saying that rotation angle is so we will change it in rotation angle, and so this will be in rotation angle, and so we don't have the override anymore. It's still loading. Is loading now. Let's see if we can find it. We can fix another one. Path declaration. So 181, the same class. Just while we wait the compilation and the startup. So path. This path is also, so let's move it to in path, and this will become in path. Okay, so that we don't have, and also here in path. I have to be a bit careful with these changes, because if I forget to do it, so, and the same is for distance. You see? So in distance is the same. Let me see if the same is direction. Path. No, I think that's all. Okay, at least we fixed a few warnings while waiting. Okay, the server is up. Let's start the client and see if we can test this. Let's try to find out if we can. Let me just advertise the stream also here. Okay, so let's connect. If you have any questions, I see some people connected. If you have any question, just ask, no problem. Let's keep this interactive. If you don't know what we are doing or what we are building, very happy to explain it to you. Okay, so we have two items on the ground. One is a spoon, and you see that the window pops up okay. I mean, it doesn't have the perfect background, but it's fine. So it's a wooden spoon with quantity 1, category weapons, weight 2, size 25. So this one is popping up okay. The one that is not popping up properly is, oh, now it's popping up properly. Okay, there is the container window, right? There is the container window, and you see we have this item. It's a wooden ball, weight 1, size 14, capacity. And we have here all these slots. I don't know exactly why these slots are 5, 10, 15, 16. It's 16 slots. I don't know exactly why it's 16, but I think that we send in the maximum capacity, and based on that we are setting up the number of slots. Okay, so what we want to test is if I take an item from my inventory, which is this one, and I move it there to see what happens. So let's take this chainmail torso and let's move it like here. Okay, seems nothing is happening. Move the item from slot 18, container -1, which is correct because -1 is the inventory, to slot 2, container 1319. So actually the container information is passed in properly. I think it's passed in properly. So we have the container. Set okay, but for some reason it's not moving it. So we have to go and check, because I don't have a lot of other debug here apart from this function, this printout. Here we are on the client. Let me check if on the server something more happened. Seems not. Seems nothing else happened. Okay. So at the moment we didn't manage yet, let's say, external containers. So this is kind of the first time we do it. So we need to see in the editor, in the Unreal editor, in our blueprint where we move the items, maybe we have to add some more printouts and see why it is doing nothing. Because in theory it's correct, the 13, let me just check maybe on the database, but the 1319, okay, so there is the container 1319. If I go in my database and I check on item instances, should be, I check on item instances and I search for 1319, removing maybe this one, 1319, yes, you see 1319 is actually an existing item. I think it's the proper one. It's on the ground because it doesn't have an owner, but he has a guardian, which is myself. So it's the proper item, right? Yes, and it's a 70. So yeah, is targeting the proper item, which is 1319 in ID in the database, right? Which is good. So now we need to understand why, if we can, it is. We need to understand why in our WD slot, it is our graph for the movement. Hello, Zwei, welcome. So we have to check when we are moving the item, why we are not executing. So I think we arrive here because we print this, right? We print moved item from slot container to slot container. That is the printout that we see here on the client. Moved out, this printout here, right? This printout here is the one that we see. So let me just close this. So we arrive here, we print it, then we do what we do. We go here, we get the player controller. We are still on the client side, eh? Yes, we are still on the client side. And we check that our player controller is a Planeshift player controller, so this should be fine. Then we go and call this function, which is a send move message, which this one should go server side. And we are putting the moving the message this way. So this message is actually execute, okay, send move item. So it should call a server side send move item. It's probably send move item should be it's getting called where? In Planeshift controller base. So it should be here, right? Send move item, and it is. So it's calling this function, and this function is calling get slot manager and the slot movement. Okay, it's trying to pass in the pawn of the character, which I think is fine. It's very fine. So now something happens in that piece of code that doesn't allow us to proceed. Log item log. Well, I think I should enable log item. Yes, let's enable log item so it's much easier for us to see all the printouts. Okay, so I think we are going to do it again, and or we can just put it in debug mode. But log item. You see, log item at the moment is only error. We want it to be log, which means that we are going to print out much more information. So let's do the test case again. I launch again the server. Now relaunch the client. We didn't change anything in the code, so it's fine. Yeah, the good thing about the log system is that you can selectively, enable or disable a certain log, but also the verbosity. So when you set, like I said here, everything to error, what is it? Yeah, you see, all these ones are set to error, means that only the errors will pop up. But if we set it to log, then yes, also the logs will pop up, so also the debug information. And here we add some debug information. See, sometimes this freaking window is not popping up. I don't know why. Okay, second time it pops up. Okay, we'll have to solve that, but I don't want to solve it now. So if I move this item from here to there, let me see what is the server side printing now. You see that there is a much more printout. So it's saying go slot movement message for one stacked item, okay, from container 1 slot 18 to container blah 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 slot 2, which is proper. Then it say proposing to move the item chainmail torso armor from slot 18. But then it's trying to find the item and it's saying that it doesn't exist. Well, because it's actually in my inventory, so it's not an entity yet. Okay. I think we should check in the code where we have this error message. Move from world container. No, it's not this one. I think we are in another place. I think we are to container, moving from a world container to another world container. Doesn't seem a different slots. I think I have to debug this and see where we are. You see this? There was a U fix me. So for sure we are hitting this place, and I just set it to null. So there is something we have to fix. Yeah, so all this code is to be fixed. Assuming that we go through this, but I think so. Yeah, so we are missing that piece of code, which has never been done, I guess. Which is the part of the second mission that we have. We are mixing a bit mission 1 and mission 2, but basically this one, the mission be able to move items from and to containers, this one is the one that we are trying to execute now. Okay. And there is some code here which is not properly working. So let me understand what this code was doing. So it was basically searching if we had an item, gem supervisor, find object, EID, container, entity ID. And then he was trying to cast it to PS item actor. Well, actually, let's say which is this one, container entity ID. Let me go one step backward. If I search whoever is calling this function, right? Is this handle slot movement? Yes, perfect. So we were here, and now the question is, should we change it so that we have, you know, the actual object? Because I mean, searching again the object seems a bit stupid. We actually have We actually have the object open. Yeah, but it's an ID, unfortunately. It's an ID of the container that is open. Okay, it's fine. I think we can. It's a bit annoying because we have to do an extra cycle of searching for nothing. Well, not for nothing, but we have to do an extra searching. And yeah, I don't know exactly in which of the different categories we are going in. I think we are passing this through the editor. Let me see. Are we passing in move message? So this move message is what we are creating, but what this guy requires is this from container. So from container is this one, which is coming from container ID. Okay, and in our case it will be -1, so it will be inventory bulk because we selected from inventory bulk. So inventory bulk is this one, so we will go inside this function, right? So let me go here, move from inventory, and we should go inside of this, I think, right? Even if our printout was slightly different. Let me check the printout that we got. I think it's another log. Would be nice if I could name these logs always the same way. Is there a way to change the naming of these log files? For example, I would like the client to always have the same. Maybe there is a way, because if we could do it, it would be much easier for us. Like, can I pass in the log file name? Let me search that, because if we fix it once and forever, I think it's much easier for me. So Unreal Engine, choose log file. How to send game logs to custom log files. Send game logs to custom log file. Oh, it's possible to get an output log. Minus log equal. Okay. Yeah, I think I would like to do this because it's very annoying to always have different log files. It's very annoying. So let's try to do this. So log PS Unreal I think I like, but I want to have PS Unreal underscore client, right? Which stays always the same. The only problem is that if I'm launching multiple clients. If I'm launching multiple clients, maybe I can do a percentage something, percentage 1 now. Okay. For now, let's do it like this. Let's see if it works. Okay, so we always have a client log, then we have a server log, and then we have an editor log, so that these are separate. Minus log equal to editor. Okay. This will simplify a bit my life if it works, because sometimes I'm just searching through all these log files and trying to understand which is which, you know. And like now I'm searching, yes, moved item from slot to container. This seems to be the client. So the server is proposing to move item from slot 18. Okay. So this seems to be Yes. Yeah, it is. It is the piece that we are hitting because we don't have the define object. Okay. There is the code that we never ported. Okay, we have to port. There is the code we never ported. So now what is the point? The point is that we should always use the UID of item instances, because item instances is the one that is unique within the game. So yes. So this find object, I don't think we have a translation for this function yet. I think we never, no, in fact we don't have. We have a find entity ID, no? Find player entity something? Yeah, we have find player entity, find nearby entities. This one we converted, but we don't have a find object. I think we need to implement one. There's no way to do it. I'm not completely sure why. Oh, yeah, it's fine. I think we can leave it here. Okay, we can leave it here. But basically, what we want to do, we want to scan. Then maybe in the future, what we can do, we can pass in directly the object. But I'm not. Yeah, maybe we can do it. But let's do it simple first. Let's do it simple now, and then we can make it more complex in the future. Okay. I need to have a function which is called find object, which in the old world was in gem supervisor, and was this one, which was finding an object by name or was finding an object by ID, right? And okay, so and was returning in our case. I'm not 100% sure we should return a PS item or if we should return an APS item actor. That's a good question. That's a good question. Because I may move an item, from my inventory to a container in my inventory. And in that case, none of the two is existing in the world as an entity, it doesn't. So let me just check one thing. When we do the move from inventory, yes, like here, right? Yeah, from inventory, but let's assume that my target is another container which is not on the ground but is in my inventory. So it's a chest I have in my inventory. So how this is gonna work? Because in this case, container gem object. What is container gem object? It's -9. Okay, -9. Container gem object -9. Because we are switching here based on the container. So container gem object. Then there is container exchange offering. Then there is container worlds. Then there is container inventory bulk container key. Yeah, because it's the same if I move it to You see that in this case is not doing the search of the physical object because he knows that the physical object doesn't exist. While here but then why is going through this? Because our object is not -9. For sure it's not -9. I don't know, I think we have to debug it, otherwise I'm just confusing myself. So let's try to debug it quickly and understand what it's doing, okay? Because I mean, it's true that we are passing in the actual container ID. Maybe that's not correct, right? Maybe we should pass in -9. But then if it's -9, how can he? I don't understand this -9 gem object, by the way. I don't understand it. In the sense that if I use this kind of value, container gem object, how then it can know what is the actual container, because it's not passing the ID anymore. So I don't get it. If we do container item, what is doing? Is doing item proposed is a container. Okay. Then it's getting this container entity ID. Container entity ID to container. Ah, here is the trick. Here is the trick. If it's greater than 100, which is okay, a bit of a spaghetti code. If it's greater than 100, so it's not one of the it's not one of the values. In our case, is 1,000, 3,000, 1,319. Okay, so is putting that number into container entity ID, and then is saying that we are working on a container gem object. Okay, so this is why we are coming here. Okay, I understand it now. I understand it now. And then is searching for the actual object. Okay, I think I get it. Because he assumed that now is a physical object that is on the ground. Okay. Good. Okay, so yeah, we need to implement. So let's continue what we were doing then. We need to implement. Then in this case, is trying to find a physical object. A physical object. So I think we can return directly a PS item actor, and we will call this function exactly like it was, which is find object. And this find object will take as a parameter the container ID, right? The container ID, which will be an integer, right? Let's say yes. So this function, what he has to do is in game mode. In this function, we'll have to do find entities. Let me do it. Let me put it here. Yeah, so we put it here next to the others that are searching entities into the world. So this one we become like this, and so finding an object is relatively easy. So we can iterate through all the objects in the world. So let me see if we have one already. Yes, we have one already, which is this one, but I think we can, yeah, let's take this. So I would go directly PS item actor, because anyway we know that it will be a PS item actor, so we don't care about any other actor. So we don't care about NPCs or players. So as soon as we find one, I think we are fine. I mean, as soon as we find one, we just need to check that he has the right ID, right? So we just check if our yeah, let's do this anyway. So if our actor get UID, no, we need to do get item data. It needs to have a get item. If it doesn't have get item data, this will crash, unfortunately. But so if this is equal to our container ID, then we found it. Okay, and so in this case we can just return our actor. If we don't find it, unfortunately, we will have to return null. Okay, so that is our find object function. Now let me just document it in our wiki page because I want to be sure that we are documenting it. So find nearby entities, so it will be here. So where the code is something like gem supervisor find object, right? This one translates to yes, Planeshift game mode world blah 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 blah, and then it will be find object. It will be find object container ID. Okay. Okay. So we have documented this as well. Now we need to call it though, because this function is fine, but we need to call it from slot manager. Now to call a function, we need a world. Without world, we cannot do anything. So I think we can do something like, I think we can go through spawn manager. Spawn manager as the current world. I think I can do a get. Now IntelliSense is sleeping, but there is a get world, I think. Please. Nah. Spawn manager is not included, and so it doesn't like it. Pointed to complete class. Okay. I can include it here. Include. So we are inside slot manager. Slot manager is, yes, we are in the right place. So I can just include spawn manager.h, and you should be able to see it. Now, it's taking a bit. You can just go manually. Sometimes it's quicker to go manually than to wait in IntelliSense, which is a bit crazy, but. So I think we have inside spawn manager, we should have or get world, or we just go directly with current world. Yes, I think it is this one, current world. Okay, so we do spawn manager current world, and then we need to call it. What was that? Yeah. We need to call something like this. So I need to do spawn manager current world, which is basically our get world, and then get authentication mode, get base mode. Okay, and then I have to pass in this. I have to pass in this one, and it should be fine. I think it should be fine this way. So we're basically searching the container with the proper object ID, and we are returning it as a APS item actor. Okay, so this should not crash in theory, because we are sure that if we are coming here, we have an object. We have an object in the world, right? Okay, good. So what do we do next? Our container, blah blah blah. Our container couldn't find. So now this check should not fail anymore. This one, container get item. I don't know if this will fail, but it should not fail. This one should not fail. This one should not fail because it's the range. So the fact if you are in range with, why there is still this send system error? Oh my god, I left those. Fuck it. We need to change all of this. Why we still have all this send system error here? Pretty bad. And why we are not returning the proper error to the user, by the way? Wait a second, I think we have a problem here. This code was ported, but was ported partially. Was ported partially, unfortunately. So let me check for the original code, and we see if we were sending a message back to the user, but I think we were, so I think I converted it in a stupid way. Come on, as in slot manager. Okay. Let me check what this code was doing. Oh yes. Oh, actually, couldn't find a cell entity ID. So basically, all the ones that are server-side errors are just printed out in the console. The one that should go to the user, so I think is correct, but we didn't port the other pieces. Yeah. Okay, we need to change all the send system error now, because otherwise it's bad. Okay, send system error. Send system error is this translation here. So let's do them all. We'll take a bit, but well, we take like 2 minutes, but let's do it. 5 minutes. So we want to send. But we don't have the client here. Yes, we have from client. Nice. So this will become from client and receive system message error. Yes, and this will be the error will be this. Is it okay? So as long as there is not a parameter, we can call it just like this, right? Send system error. Yes, all of these are the same. And so let me move them all. Let me change them all. Because otherwise the client was not receiving any message. That's the problem, right? So the client was not receiving any message because this PS server send system error are dummy. Is a dummy function that I created just when I was porting the code to make it compile, but is not a real message. No, here we have to do it differently because there are parameters, so here I have to do something like that. Okay, and then here we just have to do from client. I think it would be good to do it in the WAL file. actually, but I don't know if I have the willingness to do it. But it's a bit annoying to change all these messages. But we actually will have to do it everywhere in this file. So we are removing all these send system errors, which are not doing anything. Okay. So at the moment I'm just converting the messages, doing nothing more than that. Oh, we are calling message something that is already a message. Okay, I cannot call it message, otherwise I would do a mess. Let's call it message to or whatever. Otherwise is a real problem. Okay, because I'm overriding another parameter which is there. Okay, so this one we did, and there is another one which is this thing. Oh my god, what is this? F string reason. Couldn't we just do a percentage s? Probably was easier, huh? So if I do item cannot, and then I just do percentage s reason, it's probably simpler, huh? I don't understand why we did it the other way. Okay, so this one we can remove it. Should be fine. The only problem is that everything that is a string, we need to be sure we are escaping. Okay, I think it's fine. I think it's fine. Okay, we did it everywhere here. Let's see if there are any left. Yes, there are more left. Unfortunately, there are more. I like this phrase. Trading containers is not yet implemented. It will never be. You're trying to trade a container. You're trying to, yeah, so to sell a chest full of stuff, and it's not yet implemented. Yeah, it's not. Can't place that item there. Okay. This one is done as well. We have another one down there. I'm trying to do them all, but it's taking a bit. This. We remove it. Yeah, there are 1 million, obviously. There are 1 million. Yeah. Yeah, I did the porting, so for this part. I need the first line. Come on. And this become message too. Okay. Yeah, there are 1 million more. Mm. Okay, there are 2 more down there. I think we're gonna do it. Also because all these messages, we need them on the client side, so I mean it's good that we port them because then we will receive the right messages on the client, so it's something we want to do actually. Something we want to do. Okay, just have to close the parentheses here. I guess there will be more down, but there's one at the beginning. Move from wolf container. Yeah, there are still many more. Well, not too many. There are 6 or 7 more. Do we want to do them all? Okay, let's do them all. So it's done. We do it once and it's done. So let's start from the beginning. What is this one? The only thing I don't know if it's different here is the from client, but yeah, it seems to be the same. It is only one line, so it's a bit easier. What's next? It is similar to the one that we already did, where there was reason, right? Reason. It is similar to this one. Items cannot be added to that container. Okay, it's exactly the same, so I can use it like this. Nice. Then there is a send system error, which is a one line. So let's take this one. Okay. Okay. There is another one in here. I think we're pretty much at the end. So I think we converted them all. Okay. One more. Max stack. This one is with the double with the parameters. So I need this. I need this. Okay. Okay. One more. Probably the last one. I think this is the last one. Okay. Wow. Nice. We did all the send system error. Now there may be some other send system, something like info, okay, result, whatever. We will do it later. I don't want to do it now. We already did quite a bit. So, good. So now we did a lot of good changes. Now what we want to do is to double check that when we are coming from move from inventory, yes, and we are coming here into move from gem something. What was the gem thingy? Gem object here, right? when we are coming here, so now we have our find object corrected, right? I don't remember where was it, but yeah, find object. Okay. So from here down, it should run okay. Okay, let's try to test it and see what happens. Maybe this time we will run it inside the Visual Studio because I want to see if it crashes. I want to see what it's doing. So we will compile it clean without hot reload. It's compiling. Right, while it's compiling, let's fix a few others of these errors, right? Like quest manager 1434. So if we do a bit while it's compiling, we are saving time, you know, and we are fixing. So what it doesn't like? It doesn't like npcdb hides previous local declaration. Yes, it's correct. There is one here and one here. So I think this one we will call it npcdb2, and that's it. There should not be any conflict with the one above. It should not be. Okay, there is another one. No, I don't see any other one here because I cut off the. Okay, there are few errors. I forgot to close some parentheses. Okay, one here and one here. And then there is one parameter that I didn't escape. Okay, this one. This one. I'm just thinking if we need this entity ID or not anymore, you know, because item proposed get name. Yes, we forgot that. I will have to go a bit earlier today because I'm meeting with some friends tonight, and we have an appointment at 9, which is far away from here. And so I will have to finish the stream a bit earlier, unfortunately. So I cannot stream until 8. I think I will stream until 7:15. Depends how late I want to be. I don't want to be late. I'm just fixing some of the printf that need an escape. Okay, compiled. Are there any other hides class member? Yes, there are a few missing. Not too many though. Look at that. I think we fixed the majority. Like progression manager, like, yeah. So we'll keep those here, and while we are compiling, we're going to fix it. Okay, so let's launch it in debug, because I want to see exactly what happens when we are moving that item. And while it's compiling, we are gonna fix some of these errors. So progression manager CPP line 187, progression manager line 187. So we do a for e loop, and then we do another for e loop, and there is a bit annoying though, because I don't know if he's using this one or another one. Yeah, this is exactly the reason why the compiler is saying that, you know, we are not compliant. But let me try to do this. Hopefully, so he's taking all the attackers. Then here he's using J. And it seems he's not using I anymore. Yes, he's not using it until very, yeah. Okay, I think it's fine. I think this one we may have fixed. The server started meanwhile? Not yet, it's still compiling. Still compiling. So maybe we can check the next. Oh, okay, started now. It started now. Okay, let's launch the client and see if we can move an item between the two containers. In theory, it's only, you know, it's only logic. So it's only logical change. So it should not be. Why the client is why is so small? Because I changed the command. Let me see if the logs are working. Oh yes, the logs are working. So there is a PS Unreal client, which is definitely something I want to keep now open forever in my editor. Wonderful. Okay, let's log in and let's move the item and see what happens. So I open this. You see, sometimes it's not opening. No idea why. So I open this and then I try. So it's a bit dark, but I try to move one item from here to there, right? Boom. Okay, it's coming here from container, blah blah blah. Get offer stack count. Yeah, you see it's going inside. Yes, it's going here inside gem object. So let's check if he finds the object. Yes, he actually found the object, so I think we should be fine. Should we let it go and see what happens? Okay, it crashed. Okay, so boom, 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 boom. What happened? What happened, boys? We moved. So we were here. Did we get any message on the server? So this is the client, by the way. Okay. I think I made it even bigger than this, eh? No? Don't remember. Let me see if we got any error. We got any error on the server console. We got move message container blah 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 removing item 1310 from invent. Why 1310? I don't know. from inventory at 4, update inventory status, set location in parent. Okay. It seems he did the job, but then something happened. After he did the job, he went into work manager, start auto work. Ah, I know why. Because this container is a crafting container, believe it or not. And so he's trying to see if he can do some work, right? So I'll imagine that the container was an oven and you put some bread into it and it will burn, right, after some time. So he's trying to do some crafting in the background, and actually goes inside auto work. Okay, let me just see the variables. From client is fine, work container is fine, new item is fine, the stack count is 1. Okay, then what is trying to do? Why crashes? He goes into load local variables of this client. Yeah, you see, he's trying to check if it's possible to do some automatic work, but unfortunately inside load local variables is miserably crashing. Don't understand why it's crashing, but I mean, it's crashing on the return true. I mean, what is the problem? I don't get. Maybe owner is empty. Yeah, probably worker is empty. No, but client. We are setting worker equal to client, right? Which is my character. And then we're setting owner equal to worker, so it's still me. We're getting the security level. This should be fine. Just don't know about this, but why is crashing here? I don't get it. Return through. I mean, it's crashing on a return through. What the hell? Do you understand why? I don't understand why. Maybe these patterns. Yeah, maybe it's this patterns thingy. Because it's the only variable that seems to be null that we are doing some work on, you know. So it's probably this one. It's probably this one. Hi guys, I see someone joined. Welcome. If you want to ask any question, just go on and ask, okay? So that we can keep it interactive. I think it may be, the error may be on this one, but I guess we need to debug it again to understand. Let me, I think he moved the item. If I go in the database, I have the feeling that he actually moved the item from my inventory to, so let's see this 1319, okay, where it went, okay. So 1319, assuming I moved 1319, but 1319, no, I moved 1310, there it is, 1310. Yeah, parent item 1319. Yeah, so I think he moved it. Yeah, he actually moved the item properly, which is very nice. Which is very, very nice. He moved the item properly. We just need to understand why the auto work is failing. What is this patterns dot empty, by the way? What is this thing? Let me go and check in the old code. Why? I mean, what was that? Was not found. Okay. So in the old code, yeah, it was the same. It was patterns.empty. So it was basically clearing out an array. It was clearing out an array, but this array, unfortunately, I think is not initialized anyway. These patterns. Let me check. Let me search these patterns inside the current document. Maybe if we find it in where is the constructor of this thing? Work manager. When we are constructing a new work manager. Yes, are we setting patterns to 0? No, we are calling initialize. Maybe it's inside initialize. Initialize. I don't see it. Are we never initializing this thing? Because I have the feeling we are never initializing this variable. But sounds a bit weird that we are not. Because it's actually a class variable, but we are not, you know. Let me check. Work manager. Let me see if we have it. So yes, it's a CS array of trade patterns pointers. Okay. And at least in the H file, we are not initializing it. But seems to me that also here we are not initializing it. We are initializing it when some work is starting, but okay, let's log in and see. But I think that now the item should be gone from our inventory and the item should be in the container. Yeah, you see it's missing from our inventory. It's pretty good. Let me see if the item is it's not displayed. It doesn't mean that it's not there, but it's not displayed. It's not displayed here. I was hoping it would be, but seems it's not displayed properly. I would like to know if at least we get the item in the list. I think we need to print it out with yep, we need to print it out. Okay, anyway, the item has moved, right? The item has moved, which is a very good news. Now we had that crash, but I think we can fix that. Now I want to print out from the blueprints the different items that are there and see if we get it. It may be just not displayed properly. Because on the client we didn't get any message, right? Let me double check again, but I think on the client we didn't get any message. Subsystem closed. Apart from this freaking error that we get all the time, but no, I don't see any message. I see a wooden bowl getting printed out. Win container details. No, but I don't see any. Okay, let me check. Why? So in our container window, this one, in our container window, we should check if when we receive, okay, so this set container content, this one I guess we are printing out. And we print the item name, which is the wooden bowl. So I think we are this printout is exactly this printout, okay? Then we set the text, we set the description. All of that is working because we see it on the client. Then we start the for loop, which starts from index 1. I think this should be 0, by the way. No? $15 or 16? I don't remember if the first lot is 16 or is 15. 1 second. If I go in the database, in location, I think the first one is 16. Yes. The first one is 16, so that one was doing 15 plus 1, and that's why this one was a 1. So this one has to be 0. This one has to be 0, and it must go up to the last index. The problem is that it has to go then to last index minus 1. Otherwise, we add one additional slot. Okay, apart from this, then, because if I moved it to the slot number 1, then it's not working, obviously. Well, it's about the same though, because I just went back 1 and then no, but I'm setting the index, so that's the point. I want to set the index. No, because I think my slots start from 1. Yeah, no, it was correct as it was before. It was correct as it was before, because my slots start from 1. Yeah. I don't think there is a slot 0. So slot 1, okay, so it goes there. Then when this is completed, it comes here. You should actually print out element in inventory array. Okay, yes. Element in inventory array 16. So this one is actually getting printed out, which is nice. And we get the inventory array. Okay, fine. But okay, I mean, this one we don't need it to print out. It would be more interesting to know what is this one. Be much more interesting. So let me remove this and do length. Okay, and this one we call it content received, and then we can say items, right? So this will be the number of items that we received. We should be at least one, because there should be at least one inside this container. Then after this, it goes inside the for each loop, and it should print out updating slot. I didn't do it. So probably this array that we are receiving is empty. Yeah. Yeah. I think the array we are receiving is empty, boys. Don't ask me why, but unfortunately I think it's empty. To know why is empty. To know why is empty, we can trace back this call, which is coming here, which is coming here, which is coming here, which is getting called by the server. Let me see if we have. So the server should say when we are doing send container content, send container content, there must be a function called like this, or contents maybe. Is in PS item anyway. Okay, it's probably contents. Send container. Come on. Okay, is it? Send container contents. Okay, I think that here we are doing something wrong, and we are not getting this. Okay, let's launch it in debug mode again and see. I want to see if we get this content or not, because there is definitely an item there, but for some reason, oh my god, why is doing this? Because we have the editor open. Okay, compile and save. Compile and save. Okay, we close the editor, so it's not so annoying about it. So what we want to see is if we have items properly populated. Okay, it's compiling. So while it's compiling, let's do the usual cleanup if we can. So PS server char 548. Okay, it was quick this time. It just finished. It finished very, very quick. So I'm launching the client. By the way, there was an error where the NPC was trying to speak. I fixed it. So if you try to speak around us, we should see. Okay, let's see what content we get. Do we get at least one item? No, we get an empty item. Okay, so this function is not working. This field container message is not working. So we need to debug it and see why. Because we are actually sending an empty container. So let me check. So item actor is item date. Yeah, it's 1319. 1319. 1319 is our container, right? 1319, yes, is our container. And there is one item into it, which is this one. In location 1. So I should be fine. Why is not finding it? Let me see. Why is not finding it? So this one is okay. It's putting content to 0. Okay. Then If there is not a container, it goes there. Okay. Then it creates an iterator on item data. An iterator on item data. Why is doing this? It's not correct. I think I ported it. I ported it wrong. Container iterator container. What is this container iterator doing? Is returning get item index of current. Oh shit, why is it so complex? Why we cannot just cycle through? Okay, let's see what it does, but I think this piece of code is not correct. So we are returning the PS item, yes. We are trying to see if he has an X, you see? He's not checking. It's like if he has no items into it. Where is the stuff? Where is the contained stuff? Maybe his item list. It's actually empty though. IT as next. Current container count items. Count item. Yeah, it's working on item list. Our item list is empty. I guess we are not loading the content of the containers yet. That's probably the reason, because our container is empty. I mean, in the database is not, but here it is. So yeah, I think we have a problem in another part of the code that we didn't import yet. So if I go to game state and I go to repopulate items, let's try to see if he's here. Here it should load all the items in the world. It should load world items. Yes, create item. Load items in containers. There it is. That is the error. This one will never work. Okay. Okay, so so we have to fix this. We have to fix this. So loading the items in containers. Loading the items in containers. What he's trying to do is trying to get the actual item entity. Why this one is different from if item get container ID? Sorry, why this function is different from find object? I don't understand why we have two. Why we have find object and we have find item entity? Aren't those two exactly the same? So find object and find item entity. Find object. Why? What is the difference? find object is searching on entities by ID, okay, and find item entity is searching items by UID, okay. Well, we don't have EID anymore in our Unreal, so I think that for us are exactly the same. Yes, so I think we can, without any problem, just call the same function. We can just call the same function. If I go find object, there are so many find object that we messed up. This one. This one. So I think we can. This is returning. So the first thing is, do we have an item? Do we have an item anywhere? No, we don't. But we're in spawn manager, so we can just use get current world. I think it's fine. And then get authentication mode. And then we do item get container ID. And this find object is returning, I think, a PS item actor. Pretty sure. Should be. Come on, find object. Okay. So now, when we are loading the containers, we are also loading. I think we can just go like this. Unless C item is used below, I think it's fine. Container get item data item should be fine. Let me just check if I butchered that function more. I mean, if there is any other place that if I did something. No, the null is here. Okay, now seems to be okay. Seems to be fine. Okay, seems to be fine. So now we should, in theory, properly load the items in the container, right? We can check it. We can check it. Yeah, we have the breakpoint anyway. Yeah, we have the breakpoint, so it's fine. Okay, while it's compiling, let's try to fix one of these other problems. PS server char 548. PS server char. Yes. So we solved that as well. I don't know why he's still complaining about the window. No idea. 542. Yeah, it's the same. Okay, the server is running. Server is running. It didn't crash, so it seems to be okay. Let's launch the client 1 second. Okay. Let's launch the client. Let's launch the client and see. I would like to solve that window error, but I have so many things to do and to solve that maybe the UI I let Cyborg or someone else take care of it. Okay, immediately crashed, which is interesting. Broadcast game time. Okay, this happened to me already one time. I will just relaunch it. I will just relaunch the server because I don't know why. There is something weird on game time that if it's sent exactly the same time the player is logging in, is crashing. But I don't want to. I don't want to go there at the moment. I think that we have to do some checks that the client is ready before sending the game time or something like that. But at the moment, I don't care. We leave that error as it is. I will fix it later on. I will fix it, boys. Okay. Should log in a second. I hope we don't get the same crash again. Come on, log in. What is it trying to do? I don't understand. Why we have two clients started? Okay. Okay, we are in. So let's check if our container now has at least one item. No, it's still empty. Fuck. It's still empty. Okay. It's still empty, unfortunately. It's still empty. Why is it empty? Should not be empty. Yeah, the item list is empty. So meaning that in the startup we are not loading. We're not loading the item. There is some other problem. There is some other problem. Hello? F2? No? I think I placed an F2 somewhere, but so when we are loading the items, repopulate items, right? I think we were here and load items in container. Okay, let's try to debug this because in theory it should work, but it seems it didn't. Seems it didn't. Seems he's not properly loading the items. into a container. Maybe there is some other piece of code that we didn't finish porting. Let's see. Okay, it's not even going through this. Okay, it's not even going through this. The breakpoints could be. Wait. We didn't. Maybe we didn't do the clean compilation. Okay, well that would be a reason. Yeah, it could be. Yeah, it could be. This DLL is very old, so it didn't recompile that piece. Okay, fine. Well, if it's only that, I think we are fine. If it's only this, I think we are in good shape. Because it was still executing the old code before the change. Anyway, I'm launching it in debug mode because I want to see if it's actually loading something. It's actually adding the items to the... Okay. Invite manager 109. Type. This one will have to be changed as well. Okay, so we are here. Item get container ID. Let me see if container gets a value. Yes, we get a value. So I think that now container get item data add to container item. So item data item yeah 1. So we have one item loaded into our object now. So it should be fine. It should be fine. I think now we are loading the items properly into the container, right? Which is what we needed. And now I want to see one item popping up in the UI. Please. Please. Let's do this. Hey boys. No one is typing, but I see you're there, huh? I see you. I see you are there. Okay. Okay. So here we are in game, and what we want to see? We want to see that when I open this freaking thingy, I get at least one item. Yes, I got it. Okay, nice. So that part is fixed now. I don't know why. It's not opening. Why is not opening? Oh. Sometimes this window is not working. I need to understand why. Okay. Yes! We have it! Boys, we have an item in the freaking container. There it is. Chainmail torso is actually in the container and is properly displayed. Is properly displayed, and we moved it from our inventory to that. Okay, yes, the UI is not very nice, but we will improve it. We will improve it. So yeah. So let me see if I can move from this to this. Let it go. It seems not. It seems that from this to... No, I think that from my inventory to there we can, but from there to there we cannot. Let me see where this item went. I think it was 1310. Yes, 1310. 1310. Well, it's still there. It didn't move. It's still in the container. So probably if I close it and reopen it, it will probably show. Yeah, it shows in place. So no, it didn't move. It didn't move. It didn't move. Why it didn't move? Okay, let's try to move it back to my inventory and see if there is a chance that it moves. We can debug this and say, no, it's not moving. It's not moving. So from my inventory to there, it works, but from there back, it doesn't. Then move another item there, like this guy. If I put it here. Yes, but then we hit this problem of local variables. Why jumping all of this? Fuck, I don't know why it's crashing like this. I think that this pattern's empty. I think patterns is not initialized. There is my feeling. So let's do, so patterns is actually an array of trade patterns, right? So let's do this. Let's do equal to t array of ps trade something pointers open close. Let's do this, which is basically the same, but instead of making it empty, you associate to a new empty array, because I think that is the one that is crashing for us. But I think that now our container has 2 items into it. Now, can we understand why it's not working when we go back? When we go back, it's not working. Why? So if I take my ulog, I don't know if it's this one or that one. So from container -1 slot 2 to container -1 slot 18. No, this is not correct. The container is fucked up. The container ID is fucked up. Why? So it seems that when we are loading the items into the container, we are not setting the container ID. No. I think the point is when we are, I think the point is send container contents. I think when we are sending this, wow, it's in so many places. When we are sending this, I think the problem is here. Yes, let's debug that and see if my container ID is -1, but I think it's -1. Should not be -1, should be 1319. I mean the number of the container. I think that's the problem. This container ID I think is not working. Or when we do this fill, but we have child container ID, so I mean it should work. Don't understand exactly why. Okay, let's just start the client and open up again that container, and we should check why the container ID is -1, because it should not be. Should be 1319. The actual ID of the container. Please don't crash on weather. Okay. Okay. So, okay, let me check. Container ID is -1. Fuck. Why container ID is -1? It's not good. Where are we? Chart manager view item, yes. View item, send view item. There should be one that is send container. No. I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing the send container content, but it's obviously here. Get board, blah blah blah. Oh shit. What? I don't understand. So char manager view item. Okay. Fine. So we are here. Then inside of this, it goes inside view item. Okay. PS item view item. Slot ID. Why I'm passing in? Why all these variables are fucked up? Why slot ID is -2? Why container ID is completely fucked up? Is an insane number. Send item description. Send container con. I think it should be here. Right? I think we arrive here, but I don't understand why my view item then is so bad. $13.19. And slot ID is -1. Okay, but container ID here is 1319. But I don't think it's this 1319 item view. You think it's going through it should go through this 1319 and -1 item view item. Item is what? Item is a PS item. Okay. So item view item. $13.19 -1. So should go inside PS item then, and inside view item should have 1319 and whatever. But here we are passing in the slot ID. Why we're passing in the slot ID? I don't get this. Why we're passing in the slot ID and not the container ID? I'm so confused. I think I've seen this already before, and I asked the same question, and I said why we are passing in the wrong container ID, and I said okay, if the old code works, let's leave it as it is. But it's not. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. Look at this slot ID. It's passing slot ID here. It's passing slot ID instead of container ID. Why? Why? So then send container content. I mean, look at this. The name is container ID. This thing is wrong. I mean, this thing is named wrong, I think. This thing is slot ID. It's not container ID. I think it's been named wrong from the beginning. And for whatever reason, container ID. Where is this used? Is never used? I think it's never used. I think it's a leftover in the old code. I think it's a leftover. I think this container ID. Current document. Okay. I think I understand what it's doing. I think it's not a leftover. I think that, well, it's a bit of a weird name, but it's a bit of a weird thing. It's not explained as well, but basically you can move containers from, you can put an item into a container that is on the ground, or you can put an item into a container which is in your inventory. And basically what this guy is doing, there is the trick here, which is the trick that I added as well, right? I remember I did it. Is this line, which is completely not explained, but is this one. So what it's doing is checking if the actor is not null. So if it's a physical object on the ground, then the container ID is equal to the UID of that container. Which, by the way, in our case, we should get, right? Let me try to execute this. So we should execute this line, I think. Yes. In fact, we get 1319. In fact, we get 1319. Then why the message is not correct? Fuck, I still have a -1 here. That's why. But anyway, that piece of code is very subtle, because that piece of code is extremely subtle, because what it's doing, let me go back to that. Let me go back to that because I think we need to document it. So if the container is a physical object on the ground, then use the item ID, right? Use the physical object ID or whatever. If it's not, and this is what we will have to text next, okay? So if it's not, then use, and the else we don't need because we already have the container ID. If not, I don't know where to place it, but if not, then the container ID equal to the slot ID passed in as parameter, right? Yeah, so I don't know why we did it like this because it's very annoying to read, but it would be better to have two parameters. One is container ID, one is slot ID, and so we could read one or the other. Instead, what we did, we passed in container ID, the slot ID, only in the case it's not a physical object. Kind of GG, boys, but okay, now I get it. I don't know why we did it this way, but okay, fine. Fine. Okay, so the -1 was just because I fucked up the one piece, so I think it's good. I think it's good. So let me recompile, and maybe while we recompile, we fix another problem. Invite manager 109. We said invite manager 109. So this type is hiding a class. So what is this type used? Is this used anywhere? Start that. Just a second. Sorry. It's never used. So we passed in something and we never used it. Okay. Good. I will just change it like this. By the way, we cannot launch it like that. We need to recompile it. We need to stop it and delete the DLL and recompile it because we changed the actual source code. I mean, the good news is that now we may get the proper container. We're moving back the item from the container to our inventory. Yeah, all the container code is something that we didn't import before, so it's pretty normal that it doesn't work. I think it's fine. I mean, we have to go through it. It's a very important piece of code, so we have to do it. Slot manager 220. Let me see if we can fix another error. Slot manager 220. While it's compiling. Oops. Well, this one we will have to fix anyway. That one we will have to change, so let's not care about it now. Okay, server is starting the client. Hello, boys. Anyone there? Anyone alive? Give me a sign. Give me a sign, any icon you want. Okay, we're logging in. Okay, so now in our container we should have. Hello, Passive Annie. Wait a second. This thing. I play so many breakpoints that now I'm hitting my own thingies. I think we can remove those breakpoints, by the way. Okay, so we have the 2 items here. Nice. Now, I want to move back this juiceberry fruit to my inventory. Will I be able to do it? Please. Okay, it's doing something, which I don't care exactly what it's doing. No, seems it didn't work either. Let me reopen my inventory. No, it didn't work. It didn't work, boys. It didn't work. I don't know why. Yeah, the fruit is still in this container. Okay, so let's try to debug what is going on. Okay, so when I move it, move item, move from work container. Okay, so it's actually with an error immediately. What the fuck? I think this piece we didn't import yet. You see? Yeah, this piece we didn't import yet, so that's why. Okay, the going back we still have to do. With the going back we still have to do. It's fine. It's fine. So what it's trying to do here is trying to find the object based on the container ID it needs to go through. Now this container ID, can I just see if it's a valid number? I just want to see if it's a valid number. Yes, it's 1319. Okay, good. Then we have a chance. Because if it's 1319, then we can just call it the same way. The same way we did previously, right? So we already did a find object. I think we can fix all the find objects maybe, and that's it. What do you think? Because in this file there are 1 million find objects, and I think that we will need them all sooner or later. So probably we can just fix it and see if it works. So here we are searching a work container, which is this container entity ID. So all of this we can remove, and that one is done. Really? Yes, I think so. Let me search the other find object and see if we can fix them all. So for example here, there is something very, very similar. The difference though is that in this case it's searching an object which is not a physical object. Why is a PS item and not No, at the moment I will leave it like that. I don't want to debug now something that I don't need because it's too annoying. Container exchange receiving. I think it's fine. Let's just fix the one that we need, and I wanted to do them all, but I think it's too complex to do it now. Okay, so let's go and recompile it. I think now we have some chance that it works, because now there was that check that we were missing, and now we fixed it, so there is actually a chance. There is actually a chance, boys. Do you believe? You have to tell me if you believe or not. You believe we can do it. We have a very quiet audience anyway. Very quiet. It's fine with me, by the way. No issue with that. Okay. Let's go. I really want to see these containers working, because when we have the containers working, we can move items between containers and world and containers, inventory and containers. I mean, all of that will be much easier. Much easier. I really want to see this piece working. So few people on IRC Unreal Engine. I mean, so few people active, I would say. Okay. Server is up. Nice. Everything is compiled. Starting the client. And at the moment, I don't think that the container is visually refreshing yet. So I think we need to add a piece of code for it. So I think we will have to open and close it. I mean, close it and open it to see that the item is actually gone. Yeah, I think. I'm pretty sure. So we will have to do that, but it's fine. So let me see if, okay, this we don't care. So we can remove these printouts. I don't know why. When I open this one, it works. When I open the other one, it doesn't. So if I open this one first, the item, then the container opens. If not, okay. So we have the two items here, right? I want to move this back to here. Cannot find any item in slot 4 for container wooden bowl. Range of player is 293. What does it mean? So he tried to move from container 1319 slot 4 to container -1 slot 18, which is perfect. It's exactly the movement that we want. But then unfortunately said cannot find any item in slot 4. So let me say cannot find any item in slot cannot find any item. So he actually went through this. He passed all these checks, including the one that we fixed, so it's nice. And then he's saying, check to see if the item exists in the container within the required amount. This will return the entire stack of items to find the count we want. Okay. So unfortunately, this check is failing. Why this is failing? Okay, let's debug this piece and see why it's failing. So if I open it again, and I try to move it again, 1, 2, 3, 4 is lot 4, so it seems to be okay, but okay, it's trying to do this check now. Return get item data, find item in slot, so it's lot 4 stack count 1. Okay, he has a container iterator on this iterator, while as next, I mean this should have items into it, right? Yes, he has 2 items. Let me just check if the slot is set properly. What is the slot? Slot, please. There is no slot. Can you see it? I don't see it. UID, item menus, location, decay, quality, quantity, charges, flag, location in parent. What the fuck? Location in parent 1? Okay, yes. One is in location 1. The other one should be in location 4, right? Location in parent. No. They are both location 1. That's the problem. The location is not set. Why? Why? Why the location is not correct? Actually, one is in location 1 and the other is in location 3. I don't get it. I timed out. But one is in location 1 and the other is in location 3. In the database, at least. Seems that we have a mismatch between the locations and the slot names. Why 3 and not 4? Our server is saying 4. From container slot 4. Is there a slot 0? I don't know if it is a slot 0, but I was assuming there is not. I was assuming that the first location was named 1. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the first location is named 0. Zero, 1, 2, and 3. Yeah, that could be. 0, 1, 2, and 3. What are the locations starting from? I have no idea. How do I check it? I can check it in the production database under my character, because I think that my character well, actually I can do it even simpler. If I just launch the old client, I think I have all the messages in debug mode, and I can check the message and see if it's sending slot number 1, I think, or slot number 0 when I move the first item. I think that's probably the easiest. Let me see. So I'm launching the old client, because if that's the case, then I start to understand the problem. But let's see. Do I have all the messages printed out or not? I remember if I disabled it. Yeah, we have all the messages. You see that it's printing out like million stuff. Okay, so if I open a container, the container will be one of the ovens. Yeah, it's printing out so much stuff every time that something comes to screen, because yeah. So if I go here and try to use, for example, this, should be able to open it up, and I want to see the first lot, this one, what is it? So if I move, for example, this flower into this, wow, the text, we got just some information, like 10 pages of text. Let me see if we can go back and check. So glyph required, my glyph purified status. He sent back all my inventory. That's why. That's what is this wall of text. Wow. He's trying to transform the item into the container. Action work, message type, slot movement. There it is. Yeah, to container 15, slot 0. Yeah, okay, the slots start from 0. Okay. Okay. The slot starts from 0, so we have to change few things. Okay, fine. The slot starts from 0. So that's probably why it's not finding the number 4, right? Okay. So to have it start from 0, we have to go into the editor and just change the name of the slots while we are creating them. So I think it's pretty simple, actually. It's pretty simple. I should print somewhere. I should add this information somewhere so I don't forget it, you know. Maybe I put it exactly when I create the container in the blueprint. Ah, it's 6:38, boys. Fuck it, I will have to go soon. But I wanted to see this thing working. So the point is that when we are in our container window, and when we are creating the items, here it is. So let me add a comment here. I can do something like that. Can I create a constant? How was the literal creation, integer creation? How do you? I remember there was a way. Like this. Make literal int. Yes. We can do like this and say comment. You can say slot in containers start from 0. And so yeah, the first index will be this, and then this is something that if you remember I was doing, and then I said no, it start from 1, but in reality we're starting from 0. Okay, so we will do -1. We start from 0, do -1. So now the slots all have the right number. The slot all have the right number. Now I don't know if when we are then using them, when we are populating coming from there, no, it should be fine. I think that's all we need to do. Yeah, I think that's all we need to do. Just start from 0. So if that start from 0, now okay, we will see our items shifted of one place in the container window, but now the code will say that it's searching an item in slot number 3, and so potentially will work. Yeah. I believe. Do you believe? I believe it may work. It may work. Okay, server is up. Client going in. boom. So I have to open this window before the other one. I don't know why. Otherwise it doesn't work. Okay, let's just skip this. Okay, we have our items. Are they shifted or one position? No, but 0, 1, 2, and 3. I think anyway 0, 1, 2, and 3 is okay. So when we pick up this one, we will search for the number 3. I will just let it go and see what it does. We didn't get our item. Fuck. Cannot find any item in slot 4 for container wooden ball. I don't get it. Why still says slot 4? I don't get it. Why it still says slot 4? So contents, there are 2 items. One is in slot 1 and another one is in slot 3. Exactly. So what the fuck? This timed out. I mean, one is in slot 1 and the other is in slot 3. So why is saying that? I don't get it. Let's try to move. Let's try to move one item in the first slot. Okay, I want to see what it's saying. So if I move this X in the first slot, the server is saying 2 containers slot 1. No, it's not slot 1, it's slot 0. Why? And by the way, it didn't move it. And by the way, it didn't move it. Two containers lot 1. Why is saying 2 containers lot 1? I think we still have a problem in the blueprint, or it didn't compile it, or it didn't something. I mean, it's not possible. I changed the start from 0, right? I said that it should cycle from 0 to minus 15. So when he's opening up that window, updating slot 4. Why updating slot 4? No. I think we still have a mess in the editor. Why updating slot 4? No, you're not updating slot 4, you're updating slot 3. So for each loop, updating slot is getting this number, which is taking it from int array slot. The slot is actually set on the item that is coming from there. You cannot say updating slot 4. You cannot say updating slot 4 when we saw it on the server that this was slot 3. So why? I'm so confused. I mean, it does get location in parent, right? Get location in parent is doing nothing else than reading. And then I've seen it. It was 1 and 3. Was 1 and 3. Was exactly 1 and 3 in the vector that we are sending out. So this vector is containing 1 and 3. How we can element slot container ID. So our inventory array is starting from 0 as well, right? Our inventory array, how do we are creating this? Inventory array and our inventory, our array starting from 0 in Unreal? Yes, I think they are, right? So this array will have 15 items and we'll have the slot set as the index, and the index is starting from 0 because I placed it here. So it's starting from 0 and it goes up to 15, so for 16 items. Right? So we had 15 item and the slot is set at this one, which is starting from 0. So the first slot is set as 0. So why when I drop something into it, it says 1? I don't get it. There is a simple error, but this simple error is confusing me. So there is a simple error somewhere, very simple error somewhere, but it's confusing me. I mean, I'm expecting this slot to have the right number, but for whatever reason, it does not. I can print out the, well, I'm printing out already because there is updating slot, and then it's getting this number. I'm getting the first element. Is T array starting from 0 or from 1? I think it's starting from 0, right? T array. I want to know if T array is starting from 0. T array. Anyone knows if TRA starts from 0? But I think it starts from 0. Why we are getting this problem then? Why didn't you type it here in the bracket operator? Fuck. I'm pretty sure it does. I'm just confused of why we're getting this error then. I don't know. TRA. Yeah, but it's 0 based for sure. Yeah, 0 based index. Okay, so they are 0 based. So this means that when I populate this, if my slot coming in is 1, right? Okay, let's add another printout. I don't know what to do. I mean, I need to understand why this is not working. So let me just do another printout here and say slot item in slot. Let's say item in slot, and when we put this one here, and then we print it out. Okay, so we print out this item in slot, and then we print out updating slot. And item in slot should be 1. Should really be 1. We have a simple misalignment of numbers between 0 based and 1 based. That's what we have at the moment. It's just that. There's nothing else, I think. So it's just a matter of yeah, just a matter of ensuring that we have the right values, and it should be fine. I don't know why we are getting this. Let me launch the server just outside the compiler so it's a bit quicker. It's such a pity to be stuck for such a stupid thing, but sometimes. So now we should see 2 printouts. We have no debug, so whatever we get, right? So we should see client side. So content received 2 items. Item in slot 3, update in slot 4. Item in slot 1, update in slot 2. Why? Why? Why, boys? There is a small stupid logic mistake. There is a stupid logic mistake in our blueprint. So for some reason, let me just copy this text so we have it, but for some reason here in our blueprint I'm messing up the number. So when I create the slot, I'm gonna get, I don't know, I'm confused. It should be perfectly fine, but it's not. I think it's a simple error, but I'm not getting it. So I will explain you again what happens, right? So in this cycle, I'm just receiving the number of maximum slots, and I'm populating my array, which is, by the way, 16 numbers. I guess it's 16, right? Let me just check if the inv array actually is 16, because this is what we want. think we have a printout somewhere. There should be a printout which is... I removed it. Okay, we have the item receipt, but it was also the size of the inv array. Okay, so but yeah, no, because the only point is if we are not adding the right amount of because I think this may be the error, because we go in and we say with the number 16, so we have to create 16 elements. We start from 0 and we go up to 16 minus 1, which is actually 15, right? So from 0 to 15. So we loop from 0 to 15. I think the problem is this check, because this check is checking if my children count is less than so the wrap box starts empty, so the children count is 0. So the first time I come into this loop, this one is 0, right? And the for loop is 0. So this guy is checking if this number is less than the other, and this condition will always fail, so it will not create a widget, but a widget gets created anyway. I see it. How is this possible? Maybe it creates only half of them. Did we see 50? Did we see 16 items or not? Wait. I think I found the error. Is that freaking minus then, lesser than that thing? Because it was working when it was going from 1 to 16, but now that goes from 0 to 15. That check is failing every 2 objects. No, it's failing only the first time, and then is running well. So we have only 15 items instead of 16. Yeah. That's the error. I think I got it, boys. Please open this thing and show me that there are only 15 items. Yes, there are only 15. You see, there are 5, 10, 15. There is no more than one at the bottom. There is no, so everything is scaled by 1. Okay, so it's fine. I think we found it. So the fix is actually pretty simple. This one should be less or equal than, right? If is equal, so if I'm creating the item number 1 and there is 1 here, I'm actually creating the second item, and I want it should be less or equal. So less or equal. Yeah, because I moved everything down 1, so okay, fine. Okay, do you believe? You should believe. Then I really have to go. Fuck it. I will be streaming again tomorrow. I think maybe tonight when I come back we can do something. I don't know. I will come back around 1 o'clock. I think so. Maybe it'll be too late. But I really want to see this working, right? There's still a few things, but definitely making progress. But so what I'm expecting now is to see again 16 entries instead of just 15. So let me open this, then we will have to also figure out why. Okay, you see there is one at the bottom. I don't know if it's very visible, but there is one additionally at the bottom. So now there are 16, and this one should be finally the right ID. Something happened. I don't know. Boom. The server crashed. Okay, the server crashed, but I don't know. The server crashed very bad. But it did something, so I think. Did we get the message? Let me see if at least we got the right. Yes, you see now they are correct. 3 and 3, 1 and 1. Okay, so at least that is correct now. Then what happened? Let me check what happened on the server side. On the server side, but I think that now is correct. It just crashed maybe because it was trying to do something more. Okay, it crashed again in local variable. So, but I think it did the move. I think it did the move. I think I'm not 100% sure, but I think it did the move. So, if we open up the client again, yes, let's open up the client again and let's see if we have the item back in our inventory, which I think we will, and if it's not anymore in the container. We can just check the database. It's probably easier there. If we go in the database and we check the two items, the 13 something. So no, they both seems to still be there. Okay. Maybe it didn't have the time to save the state and because it crashed during the transaction. I don't know. Strange. I was expecting it to. I was expecting it did it, but it didn't. Unfortunately, boys, I have to go. And so we will have. I started another client instead of the server. Okay, I have to go anyway. So I will try to fix this problem. And so just to ensure that our items are probably moved from one side to the other. Maybe I will do it later tonight in the evening. If I cannot do it late tonight, we will do it together tomorrow. Tomorrow we stream again around 4 o'clock. Okay, but I think I will work in the morning a bit on this. So probably when we see each other again, I will be in a better state. So that will probably work already. That piece will probably be working already. Okay. So yeah, have fun and have a good Saturday night. And I will speak to you tomorrow or maybe late stream tonight.